"Coming!" I called, but by the time I got to the door, a FedEx truck was pulling away, and there was a flat cardboard box on my front porch. It took me a moment to remember that Brian had promised to forward the package from Germany. I picked it up and carried it inside, still convinced it was just another joke from an unkind reader. But my curiosity got the best of me, so I peeled the tape back and slid the contents out. Even before I finished taking off the protective wrapping, I knew that what I was holding wasn't a poster. The paper was thick and textured, and as I peeled back the thin piece of parchment covering it, a small sealed envelope tumbled out. I grabbed it from the floor and then propped what was actually a small painting against the wall atop my kitchen table. And then, frozen in place, I simply stared. It was a richly textured watercolor of a woman standing in the middle of what looked like a cornfield, her face clearly visible as she stared into the distance. She was wearing a red dress, tattered at the edges and ripped on the right sleeve, and her expression was resolute and wistful at the same time. In the background, the sky was a strikingly deep violet. "What the?" I murmured, as my fingers traced the woman's face. She looked exactly like a younger version of my grandma, Margaret. I'd written about her death in my relating column just 2 months ago, and in the old family photo that had run with the piece, a shot of my grandmother holding my dad's hand when he was a little boy. She couldn't have been more than a few years older than the woman in the image before me now. Feeling strangely breathless and shaken, I reached for the envelope that had accompanied the painting, tore it open along the seam, and removed the small note card inside. "I read your column, and you're wrong," it read in elegant cursive. "Your grandfather never stopped loving her. Margaret was the love of his life." The note was unsigned, and its weighty, expensive-looking cardstock was nondescript. There was no clue to who had written it, though it was obviously someone who wanted me to believe that he or she knew my grandfather. But that was impossible. The man had vanished before my father was even born. Grandma Margaret had gone silent each time I asked about him, but I knew he had abandoned her, just like my father abandoned my mother and me.